Let's be honest. Free speech doesn't just disappear overnight. It gets chipped away. One platform policy at a time, one silent government agency at a time. And right now, social media platforms are doing what our U.S. government legally can't and doesn't have the will to do. It suppresses speech that the government doesn't like or that the platform doesn't like. And that's not just business as usual. We are not used to that, seeing that in this country. And it is definitely a civil rights issue. Platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, they censor controversial speech, and they're changing our language. The government does not interfere with this in any way because the platforms are private companies doing the bidding of at least one side of our government. But when it comes to civil rights, our government's job, whether it likes it or not, whether one side of the aisle wants to do it or not, their job is to protect those rights, not hand off responsibility or the blame. Let me give you some examples of what I'm talking about. The Twitter files. Direct communication between federal agencies and platforms requesting removals. Our government colluded with Twitter at the time to censor speech from COVID and any speech that the government didn't like in the Biden administration. We know this. There's no question about that happening. COVID-19, speaking of COVID-19, the speech around that, policies that silenced people and alternative medical opinions now are being shown to have not just merit, it actually happened. We 100% know that the social media companies, without penalty, did that, silenced opposition. It's very dangerous. The election and any related speech. Platforms picked a side. All of the platforms, by the way. No platform is not guilty of this. Platforms are the ones determining what's true, what's misinformation, rather than letting individual citizens and voters decide. And here's why it's an issue. The First Amendment was designed to protect unpopular speech, not the popular speech. The misinformation or the unpopular speech, that's exactly who the First Amendment has in mind when it's protecting, because popular speech doesn't need protection. And I'm talking specifically political speech. Now go on TikTok and spend any time in that cesspool. There are people right now allowed to freely say whatever their TikTok brain wants to say, and any argument against them gets shadow banned. It gets outright banned, but gets shadow banned. If any creators out there that want to display a conservative point of view on any topic, pick the topic. One side is promoted and has massive audiences and is allowed to freely reign. They are free to bully. They are free to curse, use any kind of language they would like. You have adult people on social media platforms that say pew pew and say unalive, unless you're on the left. And then they're allowed to say gun violence. They're allowed to say killed people without issue, without problem. And that is a dangerous thing. The First Amendment was designed to protect unpopular speech. And this is especially concerning when it's political speech. If platforms control the public conversation, and they do, because, by the way, yes, you have freedom of speech, but you're telling people, go say it in a hole, and we're going to give a megaphone to the morons over here that are going to espouse the completely opposite view, then is that really freedom of speech? And my argument is no, it's not. It undermines our very democratic discourse. And that's proving that the left does not care. To them, it's any means to an end. You do not hear people on the left complaining about this issue unless it affects them. As long as the deck, as long as the chips, as long as the cards are stacked on their side, they do not care. And I will say to the current administration, to our current conservative leaders, if you don't do something about that today, you will not have a base or power tomorrow. This needs to be taken seriously today. Government inaction enables this imbalance. The people on the right in this country, we already suffer through the media being heavily biased. And that's anyone that you ask, anyone that's done any kind of study whatsoever knows that this is the case. But it is especially egregious when it is the only form of media that we, the citizens, can participate in, that being social media, when our rights are being trampled and misinformation is allowed to run rampant. Again, if you go on TikTok as a liberal creator, you can say whatever misinformation you want. And I brought receipts. I'm going to show you later exactly what I'm talking about here. You have several anti-Second Amendment people online spouting all kinds of misinformation. And when you try to correct them on that platform, you're the one that gets silenced and thrown off of the platform for your trouble. And I have receipts. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. All of this to say, I'm writing a book, and it'll be released later this year, basically detailing this and giving us the only way that we're going to have out of this mess. Here's what needs to change. I don't ever point out a problem that I don't give you a solution for. I'm very well known for that, and here goes. Platforms, all platforms, whether it's Rumble, Locals, TikTok, whether it's, and by the way, TikTok happens to be one of the few that are owned by another, one of our adversaries. So the idea that it's allowed to operate in this country, knowing China's disdain for freedom of speech and for their citizens' civil rights, that needs to be addressed immediately. Should have been addressed years ago. But our leaders are dragging their feet, and it's absolutely insane that they're allowed to do that. But platforms must not have unilateral power to silence speech. Here's what should happen. If there is a something that violates the First Amendment, so someone's yelling fire in a crowded theater, or they are abusing someone, that needs to be reported to law enforcement and for law enforcement to handle. And the government must either start picking up the mantle and enforcing public square principles on these platforms, or ensure competition through decentralizing or opening these platforms. We have laws in this country that TikTok and Instagram and Facebook are openly violating right now, and it needs to stop, and it needs to stop immediately. And if the government will not protect your right to speak freely, because big tech is doing the dirty work of what the government actually wants to happen, then it's on us, the people, the business owners, the creators, to call it out, which I'm doing right now. This isn't about left or right. It's about whether you still have a voice and will have a voice tomorrow. And this needs to stop. Now, as promised, I'm going to give you a couple of examples that I've culled from TikTok in the last 24 hours. And the only reason that this got to me was in having a conversation with the first individual, Brett, the first individual Someone in that conversation did not like the way that conversation was going, reported to TikTok, and I got thrown off of the platform for a week, and they gave me a strike, even though I never once cursed. I never once spread any misinformation. And I'm going to, in this clip, show you the misinformation and the cursing and the treatment of other people on this platform that TikTok ignored. Because in my defense, I pointed out to them, hey, what you're saying I did was actually done by the host of this show. But the host was the one doing this. I didn't make any complaints until trying to defend. And I wanted to see what would happen. What would TikTok do if if I showed them a video of how I was treated on this platform? And one of us got suspended, and the other one is continuing to make absolutely erroneous and false statements online. The second clip, this one is just to show you that TikTok both of these examples are TikTok. I will be showing other examples in a future episode. But one of the things that TikTok likes to do is they will allow any opinion from the left to go completely unanswered. You are not allowed to argue with certain narratives on TikTok. And I'm going to show you proof of that, because when the complaint was made about this group of individuals, absolutely nothing happened, even though it violated every single one of TikTok's community guidelines. Let me say that again. Even though this conversation violated every single one of TikTok's community guidelines, it was allowed to continue, and there was no punishment meted out to anyone involved in that conversation. I'll be back as soon as you've watched that.
So why do you care more about firearms than kids? Because if you are advocating to make it easier to access objects that were designed to kill, and gun violence is the #1 killer of children, then you actively care more about guns than you do children.
Just because we have a high obesity rate in the United States doesn't mean we ban McDonald's, all right? That's not how the world works.
James, what I tell you about that stupid shit, don't be doing that stupid shit. Did you not hear the whole fucking thing I just said? Do you listen, or do you just like, you have an unhealthy obsession with McDonald's at this point, my guy?
It's on topic.
What did it do to you?
It's on topic.
Here's the thing. No, it's not. If you advocate to make it easier to access firearms, which are the #1 killer of children, then you care more about firearms than you do children.
Right. So here's a problem, right? It's not guns, it's mental health issues.
Then why do you vote? Okay, fuck it. I will go on your pivot just this fucking once, because one, you can't seem to fucking have a goddamn conversation without pivot. I'm going to allow you this one pivot. If that is the case, then why did you vote for the party that votes to defund mental health funding? If you actually believe that it is a mental health fucking problem, why do you vote to defund the motherfucker?
It's unproductive. They're not doing a good job as far as...
Well, how the fuck would you know? Are you a professional?
I don't, but I do my research.
So you don't know. What research do you do?
I do my research.
Give me a source.
I don't have one on the top of my head.
Yeah, of course you don't. You probably don't know what a source is, James. So now you're telling me that professionals don't know what they're doing, and so that you're going to vote for people who want to defund mental health when you say that mental health is the cause of this issue. So once again, you are putting firearms above children.
All right, so once again, they're not related, right? Like, I think that they expose a root cause.
They're not related. Gun violence being the #1 killer to children is not relative.
It's not due to guns. It's due to things like mental health.
My God, buddy, you said that it's not related to guns when children are killed by guns.
Yep, but let's all right.
How
we take away guns. All right, we take away guns. I guarantee you that they're going to find other ways to unalive these children because it's due to mental health issues. The root causes to
So
these
James,
problems.
why?
Guns are not the problem, son. I'm letting you know this right now.
First of all, please don't
I'm not your
infantilize
son.
Brett. But James, if it is a mental health issue, are we the only country that has citizens or residents with mental health issues?
I think it's really bad here in the United States in comparison.
Yes or no? Answer the fucking question. Yes or goddamn no.
We definitely have like one of the worst healthcare systems in the developed world. I think that it would be unfair to compare us to other countries.
Yeah, no, I agree. And
yeah, there we go.
Interestingly,
we agree on something. I'm getting somewhere with you guys.
There are parties that choose to do nothing to make it better, and pass legislation to in fact make it worse. But
hold on real quick, Trisha. I don't mean to interrupt. Guys, first of all, and I've seen this several times, I'm not upset. I'm not upset at all. My blood pressure isn't rising or anything. I deal with idiocy all the time.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good.
Especially if you've been here for a while, we've seen a Brett crash out, and this is not it.
I'm being cordial.
This is not
I've
it.
been respectful.
You're not being cordial, James. No, you're not. And we're gonna let Trisha finish. My face is red. I'm native. It always is.
Also, the background and his shirt are red, which makes it worse. Really, just a quick detour. James, do you call yourself a nice guy?
I would consider myself to be.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Dear God, I wasn't expecting that.
Okay. I would consider myself to be.
Have you ever had a woman?
Kenneth,
Have you ever made love to a woman?
I have a daughter that is 16 years old.
I mean, it doesn't happen like
that. I know more
that.
about a woman body than you know about your fucking.
Okay, I have 4 children.
Okay,
Kenneth, that don't mean shit.
Hey, can I say
and plus the ones I don't claim.
Can I
Let's
say
never forget the ones I don't claim.
No, I put the links down. I put the links down in there. And Kenneth, this is what they did when a young lady became she hit her menstrual cycle. They literally had places where the young girls would have sex with either the slave owner or the bucks that they raised. So she may have not ever known that was her son. It is factual that they had breeding farms.
I have 4 books if you want to go look for the books.
Aren't
I a Woman by Deborah Gale White, Slave Testimony by John W. Blashigan, WPA Slave Narratives at the Library of Congress, and They Were Her Property by Stephanie E. Jones Rogers.
As a slave breeder, if you breed within families, we know inbreeding details. How would I make a profit by inbreeding and coming out with questions?
They didn't know.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Oh my God!
How did they know?
Even Michael Vick know not to breed inbred dogs, and I'm sure they knew if they want to make
I'm not a dog.
That's what they thought of us. That's what they thought of us.
Ignorant.
You are
ignorant.
Just dumb.
So now we shouldn't believe. Somebody in the chat say narratives, comprehend the word. So now we shouldn't believe the narratives of the people who were there. So
what I'm saying, put 2 and 2 together. You're not going to inbreed your property.
Yes.
You're not going to get a good product.
Yes, peace.
You're not going to get a good product.
Hey. Oh, you're right, because you're not a good product. That's for damn sure.
I mean, I'm just talking logically.
Okay. At the end of the day, free speech in America was never meant to live or die according to the terms and service of TikTok or any number of a handful of these tech companies. If private platforms can silence your voice for having the wrong opinion, and the government will just look the other way because these companies are doing their bidding, or worse, they are quietly or loudly encouraging this, then, ladies and gentlemen, that is not freedom. You've already lost your freedom of speech. That is control disguised as convenience. That is control over you without rushing in with a curfew. The responsibility on the American citizen is to push back, and it belongs to all of us, because once open debate is gone, so's everything else. And I mean everything else that makes this country even worth living in over any other country. You've already seen, consider this another wake-up call. You see what is going on in Europe right now. You already know what is going on in China. You already know what is going on in a number of other countries. And just because it's your side of the aisle that today has the upper hand and these companies are doing the bidding for, and you agree with that speech, tomorrow you're going to say something they don't agree with. And you're going to be placed in the bin right along with everyone else that saw this coming. Thank you for listening. Please stay sharp, stay vocal, and I will definitely see you again very soon in the future.